Aloha, friends. I feel inspired to come on here and talk about trauma responses. So many people are going through so much right now and dealing with a lot of relationships and a lot of conflict and a lot of their own and other people's trauma coming up and trying to learn how to navigate it. And I get this a lot from clients, which is like, when I'm in the trauma response, can I trust my body? When I'm in the trauma response, can I trust that what I'm perceiving is like the truth, right? And so I just want to discuss this for a moment and talk a moment about trauma responses. And I want you to understand that with a trauma response, it is pointing to the nervous system perceiving a threat, detecting a threat, usually because of something in the past, a past imprint, a past trauma that it is subconsciously detecting, right? It is showing you the strategy you use for when you're triggered, okay? It's showing you the emotions, the unresolved emotions that were already present inside of you before the trigger. It's showing you where your work is, right? Like where you defend, where you fawn, where you want to deflect, where you want to rationalize. It is often, very, very often linked to unresolved childhood trauma. And it obscures our ability to see clearly because we're seeing through our lens of trauma, right? We're seeing through our lens of trauma. So it puts us in, once we're in that trauma response, we're in a defensive state, where compassion can't be accessed. It can't be accessed. So it doesn't mean that, if you're perceiving this other person as like trying to hurt you, it doesn't mean that that's true. It typically does not equal the actual truth, like the objective truth, like what you're perceiving, because you're seeing it from a survival state, from a defensive state. And I'll also say every trigger isn't necessarily a trauma response, right? There's nuance in this. And, we can have triggers where it's just our system responding appropriately to what's happening like present day. That's also true. Okay. And we all experience, relationships, friendships, where there is blame and where there is projection, right? The medicine, once we work through the anger, the defensiveness, the need to be right, is compassion. Is compassion for yourself and for the other person. Because it's not like they're choosing to stay in that trauma response. They don't want to feel that way, just like you don't want to feel that way when you're in that state, right? And allowing as best you can compassion to be your North Star in these situations, so you have it for yourself, so you can have it for the other person. And we can only access compassion when we're in a ventral vagal or regulated state of the nervous system. This is why the vagus nerve is called the nerve of compassion, right? The goal in healing and evolution isn't to be in a ventral vagal regulated state 24/7, right? It's not. It's normal and it's healthy for our nervous system to go in and out of these different states. It just becomes unhealthy when we get stuck in the trauma response, when we get stuck in the dysregulation, and we don't have that responsiveness or that flexibility in the nervous system to effectively get ourselves back to a ventral vagal state. So have be able to zoom out, in a situation when you're in your trauma, and looking at like, what am I seeing and perceiving through my lens of trauma? And then like, what's reality? What's actually happening? Sometimes you need an objective person, to be able to help you sort through that in the moment. But no matter what side you're on in that dynamic, allow your North Star to be compassion. Because inside of these states, people aren't choosing it, consciously. It's subconscious, it's autonomic, the way that our system goes into these responses. And the best medicine, oftentimes is work through your anger in a healthy way, work through your need to be right, your defensiveness, whatever it is, and then how can I come back, to a place of open-heartedness and compassion. And I saw this quote from Gabor Mate, and he just said, what seems like a reaction to present circumstances is usually us reliving a past experience. And so remembering that, and remembering and having compassion for, giving people the benefit of the doubt that they're doing the best they can, given their own childhood trauma, given the circumstances that is on their plate. Most people aren't trying to be malicious. If you're feeling emotionally manipulated, often people aren't even conscious that they're doing that because it's so familiar to them. So just compassion, compassion, compassion as much as you can. And that is the essence of why you should even care. One of the million things and why you should care, to be able to repair and strengthen your nervous system, because it's so important to be able to access a state of compassion and a state of curiosity, which we can only access in that regulated state. I hope this is helpful for some of you. It's a lot up in the collective right now. If you're interested in repairing and strengthening your nervous system, comment the word resilience underneath this video, and I can send you a free masterclass to give you more context of the work. This is just what I'm seeing a lot in the field right now. A lot of people going through exhaustion and grief and overwhelm and these changing relationship dynamics and in their own trauma, and trying to understand how to work with yourself or with the other person in that state. And of course, take your space when you need to take it, speak up for yourself, prioritize the needs of your nervous system. And because that's the mature, responsible thing to do for both you and the other person, so that you can show up in a regulated place, and have that felt sense of compassion in your body, and that mindset that only comes from a regulated place, that can see the potential for repair and can see the potential for a positive outcome. I hope this is helpful for you guys, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Aloha.